Connor, how much should I charge for my chatbot services? Okay, I see this question continuing to pop up both on the comments of my YouTube channel and in some discords that I'm a part of. So I wanted to take a few moments here and talk about my overall thoughts on pricing. Okay, and I hope that this conversation can be valuable for both chatbot builders and the businesses that are attempting to employ our services, because it is the wild, wild west right now. And I think as chatbot builders, we all have this dream that we can open up a no code tool and click 4 buttons and deploy a chatbot and charge $10,000 for it. And the reality is, it's not even close to what's going to go on here, because this is a team sport, right? The businesses and us have to work together to come up with these solutions and be paid appropriately for the amount of development effort that it takes in order to build them. So let's talk about this a little more in depth. All right. How much should I charge for my services? Okay. I just had a call last week with another chatbot builder, and he showed me his e-commerce chatbot. He said, Connor, look, it does this, has product recommendations, yada, yada. Here's this widget. Here's this flash. What do you think I should charge for this chatbot? All right. This question, it sucks. All right. This is a bad question to ask, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's pretend for a second that I throw out a number: $5,000, $3,000, $7,000, $300. Okay. What did it cost me in order to utter those words out of my mouth? The answer is nothing. It cost me zero, just a few breaths in order to get those words out. And that's really a long-winded way of saying what I have to say on my opinion on this is meaningless, because I'm not the one that's going to pay you for an e-commerce chatbot. You know who is going to pay you for an e-commerce chatbot? An e-commerce company that has a website that is interested in chatbot solutions to extend the functionality of their websites. So just from a philosophical standpoint, asking other chatbot builders this question isn't really the greatest idea, in my opinion. Okay. So that's the first thing. The person that you need to talk to are the businesses that you want to sell these to, because they're the ones that are going to help you determine how valuable this solution is to their business. So that's the first part. The second part of this is there are a lot of different things that go into building out these chatbots, how valuable they are, and what they should be priced at. And I'm going to go over each of these 4 things here with you now. All right, the first big question is, who are you? And a reason that it's difficult to answer this question, Connor, how much should I charge for this chatbot? I don't have any information about who you are, what your capabilities are, and a whole list of other things. But one of the things that I kind of think through here is, do you have any positioning or authority in this space? Do you have any previous clients with previous examples of something similar? Do you have a website, or do you look legit? Are you Johnny off the street that just declared, like Michael Scott, I am an AI automation agency owner? Like, okay, that's a nice sentence that you just said, but is there any weight behind it? Okay. And one thing that's really important to note is your positioning and authority here, you don't create this. Okay. Other people assign you authority. And I'll give you an example. Okay. My YouTube channel, I have businesses and people that are looking for chatbot services. They're emailing me now. Connor, love the YouTube channel. I'm interested in having you build us a chatbot. We'd like to pay you for your services. Okay. So they are assigning me a certain authority based on my body of work, based on listening to my YouTube channel and hearing my thoughts about this space and the different things that I'm capable of doing. And they are assigning me this authority. Okay. So if you ask yourself this question, who are you? When you add more things to this, let's see, let's make this a thick guy. All right. So when you add more things to your positioning and authority, okay, what is the risk to the business in hiring you, right? It goes down, right? If you have a higher positioning and authority, the risk to the business goes down because you increase the likelihood that hiring you is going to get the end result, which is I want this functioning chatbot on my website that is helping me move the needle in the business. Okay. So if you at any time, no matter what the business is, whether it's in the AI space, whether you do SEO, whether it's another agency, it doesn't matter. If you reduce the risk and increase the likelihood of success of working with you, what you can charge goes up. Okay. And if you're just starting here and you don't have a lot of this stuff, that's okay. Doesn't mean that you're bad. Doesn't mean that your solutions are wrong or they're not valuable. But there's a chance that what you can charge initially is going to be a little bit lower. Okay. But once you get into the game and you start doing things here to build yourself up, you start working upwards. Okay. So that's the first question. Who are you? Second question, what can you build? Right? I didn't type anything up here because I'm going to tell two stories, okay? And one each is going to be a different side of the coin, all right? A few months ago, I had a discussion with another person in the AI automation space. They closed a client, all right? It went on the sales call, discovery call, yada, 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 closed the client. Huge success, going to get paid. They used a chatbot builder that didn't have a whole lot of functionality. Okay, all you had to do was throw in a few prompts and it spit out a chatbot on the other side. Okay, and they presented it to the client and it wasn't what they wanted. It didn't have enough features that they went over initially. And the person that was offering the solution was unable to add additional functionality and features, and they couldn't deliver. They were 3 weeks late on the delivery and ended up having to refund the money to the client. Don't be like this person, okay? So what you can build for this particular individual was limited. Now, let's talk about the other side of this, okay? I've got companies now in discovery calls that are like, hey, Connor, we'd like to build a chatbot that does A, B, and C. Is this something that you can handle? And my response to that is, of course, that sounds great. I can definitely build you a chatbot that does A, B, and C. But did you know that I can also add additional functionality to this to do X, Y, and Z, and a host of other things? And then they go, wow, no, I didn't know that, but that sounds awesome. I'm definitely interested in implementing those solutions as well. How much does it cost to add these features to the chatbot that we want? So when you add things that you can build, and this Miro arrow is not cooperating with me here, but that's okay. We're going to get through this. I'm going to learn how to work this Miro board by the end of this YouTube channel. The more things that you can build, it adds to the value proposition to the business because you can further extend the functionality of their website. Okay. So what you can charge, you have more features to offer. And each one of these features takes additional dev time for you to develop and integrate into their backend systems. The other thing that's nice, say I'm on a discovery call and I talk about this additional functionality, the more things that I say about chatbots in general feeds back into question number one, which is my positioning and authority. Wow, Connor really knows what he's talking about. He has a lot of experience doing this. He has a lot of good suggestions. He understands my business needs and wants. So I get this synergistic relationship here. When you add more to that you can build, it adds into your authority. So that's question number two that you have to answer. What can you build? Question number three, who are they? And what I mean by this is who is the business, okay? If we look at an example trajectory of my own client work since I've started doing this, my very first client was a nonprofit, then small business, small business, small business. And now, look, the definition of the term small business is pretty loose here because you can have a small business. I have a local company that I talk to that's considered a quote unquote small business. They're doing 7 figures plus, in revenue. Is that small? I don't know. It's all in the eyes of the beholder. Compared to Meta, yeah, they're pretty small. But anyways, in the past few weeks, I'm now having discussions, and I closed one client that has multiple websites where the website is the business itself. It has over 500K traffic monthly. Another marketplace site that's 1.5 million. So these are large sites where their entire revenue is based on the output of the website. Okay. So do you think that my very first nonprofit client had the same pricing discussion as these bottom two? The answer is no, right? Because the solutions are completely different. All right, let's break this down a little bit further, right? If we look at our nonprofit, we just loop in the small business to this, all right? What are some attributes about some of these companies? Now, I'm going to make some assumptions and some generalizations here, but you can kind of get the point here after we build this out, okay? All right. Most of them are non-technical. All right, their websites themselves might be a free WordPress theme that they just slapped together, or they went on Wix, or this drag and drop page builder, and they really don't spend a whole lot of their time messing around in this web development world. It's because they don't need to, right? That's not where their focus is. Their business is, they're a solar company in your hometown. They're the HVAC guys. They're, insert any, small business here. They don't have internal devs. They hire other agencies to build out their websites here. So when you start dealing with nonprofits and SMBs, you're going to become a technical consultant for them because they don't really have those capabilities. Also, their revenues are smaller in general, okay? And they might not have fleshed out marketing budgets, okay? This all just depends on the individual business. But you have to take this in mind, all right? So what is it going to require for you to build out a solution for a nonprofit or an SMB? Let me change the color of my font here. I don't like what's going on here. All right, so I charge a setup fee. Let's put 2 money signs here and a monthly retainer with a 1 money sign here. So for a lot of these SMBs, the complexity of the chatbot and what is required to build it is rather low, okay? We add a knowledge base of some FAQs. Maybe we connect, a form or a contact us to some of their backend stuff. We add a few integrations, and that's kind of it, right? So what you're going to charge for a setup fee compared to advanced solution is less. Now, something that you have to take into consideration is we all value our time differently. And I'm not going to throw out actual numbers here because then you're going to get attached to the number itself here. But I'm going to try to shape this in a way where it's still valuable, okay? So the setup fee is going to take you however many hours to make this solution out. And then you're going to have to integrate it onto their website and their backend, yada, yada, yada. But let's talk about the monthly retainer here. And why do I offer a monthly retainer to these businesses? And it's because they're not technical. They don't have VoiceFlow accounts. They're not going to open a VoiceFlow account. They're not going to understand or mess around with the knowledge base and pull all of these levers. They're not going to mess around with tokens and the right models and all that stuff like that. They don't want to spend that time, that knowledge lift that it would require for them to get up and running. Okay, so that's why they're going to have you on hand to provide the following. Hosting, right? You have to have a VoiceFlow account. Usage is the main one, right? Because every conversation with these chatbots is going to require tokens of some point, right? Well, how do we determine usage? You're going to get an idea of what the website traffic is to these various businesses. And there are a lot of tools out there. I'm not going to throw them out there because you can Google them, but you can get a gross estimation of their monthly traffic flow. And the conversion rate for most websites are 3 to 5%. Okay. So you can make an approximation by this is how much percentage of people are going to come to this website and start talking to this chatbot. But what I offer in my monthly retainer is it's unlimited usage, unlimited conversations, tokens, whatever. And you might say, Connor, how the heck do you do that? And that's because when I set this monthly retainer amount, I have some data to back me up. So I'm going to have enough left over for all the usage that it's theoretically going to take. Now, I'm going to put one big asterisk on this thing. I'm going to set a particular amount that if they exceed a certain amount of tokens, we're going to renegotiate and have a different conversation. And my thought behind this is, if they hammer all of this token usage and use it all up, that means the chatbot is working great and that the users on the other side, which are the potential customers of the client, are having a good experience with the chatbot. So it's proving that this AI solution is doing good things for the business. So why wouldn't they want to continue a discussion and renegotiate with me for more usage? And that's something that I put in the dev proposal, if you're wondering how that's set up. But I also have a dashboard with transcripts and analytics and a knowledge base. So here's the other thing that's offered in the monthly retainer, and this is light adjustments, modifications. Because I have a few chatbots online now, and these clients are emailing me and they say, Connor, why did this response happen this way? Connor, why the intro message, now that I'm talking to this thing on a daily basis, I don't really like the way that this is responding. Can we change this text? Okay. So there's a lot of back and forth here. And this back and forth, it's time. It's time out of my schedule to answer the emails and whatnot. So that's why you want to charge enough where it makes sense, where you get value for your own dev time, and the client gets value because you continue to increase the chatbot solution as it is deployed. Let me give you an example of what you don't want to do, right? You don't want to charge $1,000 a month to a small business and they use $10 worth of tokens a month and they don't email you. All right. That tips the scales way too much in favor of the chatbot builder. And I know that, wins like that, you can go high five all your AI buddies about you making all of this money with no effort, but that's a bum deal for the business. But on the flip side, if you charge them $100 a month and they're using $90 worth of tokens a month, and they're emailing you 3 times a week asking for all of these slight adjustments, and the client, on the other hand, is just sucking hours out of your week, that's a bum deal for the dev. So this is a little bit, art and a lot less science as you figure this stuff out. And I will tell you that as you work with more and more clients, this will get smoothed out and you will kind of understand and look for things that will kind of help you make these decisions. So that's kind of how I think about the nonprofit SMB, non-technical side of things. Now let's talk about these next two. What happens as you start to increase the technical skill required for some of these large clients? Just put larger businesses. I lost my thing. The revenues are larger. They have large marketing budgets. And here's the kicker here. They're more technical, and they might even have in-house devs. So what happens when you talk about these monthly retainers and hosting and usage and all this tokens and all that stuff like that? completely changes the conversation, right? Because they have in-house developers that are technical. And a lot of times they don't want you around at all for the usage or for the dash. They don't care about your third-party application that lives on top of voice. They don't care about Chat Dash and VoiceFlow and all this stuff like that. Their CTOs are having conversations on if it's even a good idea to integrate VoiceFlow into their tech stack, because they have custom built websites and they have their own servers, and their entire business revolves around their websites in some cases. So there's a risk building out these AI solutions even to begin with. I've had 2 conversations with CEOs in the past 2 weeks. They say, Connor, I have in-house developers, but they're completely full on their bandwidth. They don't have any extra time, and they don't know anything about AI. They're not learning about AI in their free time. And I want to build out an AI solution for our business, and I can't do it with my devs. So they're starting to reach out to people like me, and me specifically in these 2 cases, to start building out solutions and working on integrating it with their tech stack and their in-house dev teams. Okay. So if we come back to our setup fee and monthly retainer, what does this look like for these types of businesses? The setup fee is more, and the monthly retainer goes away. And now you're thinking, wait, why does that happen, Connor? I want to close this client that's paying me $4,000 a month. That sounds nice. That's great. I hope that works out for you. But for these instances, a lot of times, these companies want you to build out this solution, and then you're going to almost take a education phase in consulting. Why copy and paste that? Connor, build me this AI solution and then teach my team what you did and how it works. And what happens is this becomes a much more higher lift up front for you to deliver this to the technical team, because the solution is much more advanced. And you have to spend extra time talking to their team and kind of teaching them about the solution. Okay. So this is a much more higher upfront cost, and the technical skill required to deliver the solution goes up. So when you answer this question, who are they? More businesses, what you can charge goes up. And this also has the same synchronization with the previous 2. When you start closing larger clients and your technical skill goes up, your experience with them goes up, what you can build goes up, which increases your positioning authority, which means that you can charge more and more for your solutions. Here's the last part of this. What is your current caseload? This sounds kind of strange, but let me explain. I have a fixed supply of dev hours that I build out AI solutions for companies, okay? And as of the recording of this video, the demand for those hours is starting to go up, right? I have people that are reaching out to me that say, Connor, we're interested in implementing AI chatbots into our business. Can you help us? We want to pay you to build out the solution. As of, excuse me, as of this recording, I'm finishing up work with 2 clients. I just onboarded 2 additional ones on Monday. I have an open consulting contract that is going, and I have 2 dev proposals out on the street right now that have a decent chance of being accepted. So what happens as the bandwidth of my dev time starts becoming reduced? I can pick and choose the clients that I want to work with and charge them more, because I will get to a point where I'm say, I'm not taking any additional clients right now. Now, let me put a giant asterisk on this. What you can charge, with can being the key word here. Because if I use this lever to charge more for my services, I have to be okay and accept the fact that it might price out a client that would normally work for me for less. So as long as I accept that and say, hey, because my bandwidth is so tight right now, I'm not going to take on this client for any less than this, because once my bandwidth is full, that's potential additional opportunities that could have moved the needle in greater ways. Now, this is a nice, powerful position to be in. And if you're just starting, this doesn't affect you at all, right? Because your supply in the beginning is almost infinity. You're going to do whatever you want or whatever you can to get that first client and to deliver. Now, I know what a lot of you agency guys are saying. Connor, if you're starting to get this amount of inbound traffic and you're thinking about this, why don't you outsource this? Why don't you start hiring your team and get your sales guy and yada, yada, yada? And I appreciate the thought, but one of my big value propositions right now to my clients is you're working with me. We're going to build this together. And I'm focused on quality right now as we get this thing ramped up and get this thing started. And, who knows, maybe that changes in the future, depending on how things progress. But right now, this is how I'm setting it up. So you can understand, we just asked 4 of those questions. So if we come back to this initial thing, how much should I charge for this chatbot I built? I can't answer it because I don't know any of these 4 questions. And I'm not going to spend the time going through all of this with you for every one of your cases in order to talk about that, to find out. Now, just because I do not do that doesn't mean that there aren't other people. You know who would love to answer this question for you over and over again as you ask it every single week? The Liams. For those of you that are unaware of who the Liams are, they are YouTubers in the AI automation space that get a lot of traffic. And they also have masterminds where you pay a monthly fee to sit and ask questions about this space. Okay, but keep in mind, their business is you. They want you to think that you need to ask this question over and over again, and that they are there with the answers to guide you through this. Now, I'm telling you the opposite. And this is not a knock on either one of the Liams, that they don't have anything valuable to say. I'm in these groups, okay? I know what goes on in the back end. I know what gets said. But for me, how do you start, okay? If you don't know, if you have no clients, if you don't really know what to do, where do you start? Well, that brings us back to the first point, which is you better start talking to businesses, number one, because they're the only ones that are going to actually stroke you a check. But this is what I did, okay? I started with a price, and I put it out into the world, and then it got accepted, okay? Now, you could make an argument, oh, maybe I could have charged more. I could have charged less also. I don't know. But that first build, that first chatbot that I got online was a data point for me being the key word. And then I took that data point and I continued having discussions in the market. Is this valuable? Yes. Is this valuable? Yes. Close. And I start to add on to all the 4 questions that we just went through. And I progress up that stack, up that trajectory. And as I continue to climb that ladder, I increase my prices. And now I have data from all of these price points that are my own. So I don't need to ask the question, what should I charge for this? Because I already know how long it's going to take me to build this out. I already know what the functionality is. I already know what I'm capable of. And that comes from reps in the game. There are only 2 important things for chatbot builders. Build something, talk to businesses. Everything else is noise. Even these guys, what they're doing here, where'd they go? They are giving you answers just to try to get you started, to get you in the game, to build up your self-confidence. But you can also have the agency to do this yourself. Anyways, I know that, a lot of you are probably hoping that I gave some sort of breakdown with a bunch of numbers, and I'm not going to do that because everybody's running their own race. Okay. Everybody is trying to figure this out themselves, and it is the wild, wild west. So get paid for the value that you provide to the client. Oh, and that actually brings up another point here. A lot of people I see are trying to do free work in order to build out, their portfolios and get reps and stuff like that. I think on the surface, it sounds great and it's a good idea, but I think that you should get off of that as soon as you can. All right. Because you're going to want the momentum and the confidence that comes from getting that first paid client. And you don't need to do work for free in order to build a portfolio when it comes to chatbots, because you can build out demos on your own. Build a landing page, slap a chatbot on it, and there you go. That's a portfolio piece. Do a bunch of those and then start talking to businesses. That's how you start. Anyways, I hope that you found this helpful, and good luck out there. And feel free to drop anything in the comments if you want any other opinions. And if you're a business out there that is interested in hiring me for chatbot services, feel free to reach out. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.